We are doing a Thanksgiving lineup. We've been given a list of items that you may see at Thanksgiving, a lot of the classics, and we had to make a lineup out of them. DH, we also added a closer, starting pitcher and a closer, so we added one more player to the pool.
But first, the player pool that we're working with for the people is turkey, stuffing, apple pie, mashed potatoes, rolls, corn, gravy, sweet potato casserole, cranberry, pumpkin pie, and green bean casserole.
There's a couple ways you go with this, the Thanksgiving food lineup. For me, I didn't want it to be just like a batting order of how you consume the food, obviously. I'll say this.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I don't know if it's just because Thanksgiving's traditional or whatever. In my head, this baseball team is very clearly from the 1950s.
Okay. That's good to know, actually. You know what? You know,
so
you're
that's the
1950s baseball happening.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So
in my head, my team sucks. Like they're barely scraping by.
Like if we entered all of our teams into the video game, like this would be my lowest rated team. But at the time they weren't bad. But like analytics didn't age well. My leadoff hitter is a bad hitter.
Okay, my tool hitter is brutal. Yeah, my leadoff hitter isn't a leadoff hitter, but you got to sell tickets.
Oh no, it's a ticket team.
Yeah, no. He's like the only. He's the only one that maybe you buy a ticket to see. The whole team.
Who do you guys have behind the dish?
Catching. Stuffing.
Also stuffing.
Ooh, this is where I had no idea what to do with the casserole. Sweet potato casserole ended up here.
What's sweet potato casserole? Just sweet potatoes?
Yeah, sweet potatoes, but it's like kind of arranged like that. Like kind of, it's arranged like a cake.
Do you know what a green bean casserole is?
Yeah,
it's that, but with
swap
sweet
out
potatoes.
Green beans for some sweet potatoes. Yeah.
It seems like if you do a sweet potato casserole, you're just ruining sweet potatoes.
I think you'd like
usually casseroles are because the green beans need support. Oh, when the marshmallows are on top, that's called a casserole.
I think that would be the traditional sweet potato casserole. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We just call those sweet potatoes.
Yeah. If my parents went around calling that a casserole when I was a kid, I never would have eaten it.
Yeah. For me, a casserole is when you take something that normally you wouldn't like, and then you mix it with a bunch of stuff to help save it. And that's like why it's a lot of vegetables. But sweet potatoes are delicious. So they're just putting marshmallows on top, calling it casserole. All right, whatever. I have stuffing, catching. You have sweet potato casserole, BBD?
Yeah, sweet potato there. Oh, and Jake has stuffing. I like stuffing back there. I didn't have
SPC was one of the trickier players to place.
Mm-hmm. I eventually figured out how I want my guys working together in the other positions. I'm really happy with those. The casseroles are a mess for me. Just a mess.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll table my sweet potato casserole or sweet potato talks until later on.
Okay.
Until you get to your SPC.
Yeah. Who do you guys have at first?
First base, I thought would be our consensus. If I had to pick a consensus coming into this,
I don't think you're going to agree with me.
I changed a lot. I changed a lot.
I don't think you're going to agree with my. I don't think you're going to agree with my first base, but I love who my first baseman is on my team. Actually, I've talked myself into it.
First base. Well, again, my team's from the 1950s, so you guys could be playing in a different generation. My first baseman is mashed potatoes, baby.
No,
that guy is the guy.
No,
he's literally mashed potatoes.
No, not for mine.
One of the only positions I didn't consider him. Lie. I changed him from DH to another spot.
Yeah. Gravy's my first baseman because he's just getting all the assists. He's part of every play. He'll pick up any teammate. He's almost like when Rizzo comes over and the mashed potato's struggling, but Gravy's going to help him out. Turkey's not having his best game, but Gravy's there to help him out. Stuffing, a little dry. Gravy's there to help him out. He'll make the pick. He'll make the play. He's kind of the team leader on his own. Not amazing, but he makes everyone else better. And that's where I think he plays best at first base because he's support. If you're having a bad day, what did Rizzo say to Gio? Just throw or Rugi, just throw it towards me and I gotcha. And that's kind of who Gravy is at the dinner plate. He's just support all around.
For all the exact same reasons, basically, this is how dinner rolls ended up. This is how the roll ended up at first base for me. He changed positions a few times, and I ultimately ended up with him at first. Everyone likes him, and he isn't going to counter anybody else over there. It's going to help out. Nobody's walking away from if it's a buffet style Thanksgiving serving. Nobody's walking away with 0 rolls. You're going to grab 1 or 2. Everyone likes him. He helps everybody out.
I love the Gravy reasoning, and I saw that carry into rolls. I'm interested to see where BBD has Gravy because I ended up liking my Gravy spot, but I can be open to constructs of concepts.
I was pretty happy with my Gravy reasoning. It's probably my best argument out of the box argument that I came up with.
Okay.
Expect nothing
in the 1950s. I don't think Gravy gets the start at first base.
Oh, I think he thrives then.
I don't think he does enough with the stick. He's not a first baseman.
He's all right with the stick. He's just so helpful. Okay. Second base, I'll go first. No conviction here. I threw pumpkin pie there.
I had pumpkin pie was one of my first decisions, and this isn't where he ended up.
If we can do this as a unit, I just put both desserts in the middle infield, trying to sell some tickets, and apple pie was my shortstop. Like, no questions asked. And that landed his buddy Pumpkin Pie over there because they turned the most beautiful double play together. So Pumpkin Pie got second because Apple Pie was that short. You know, if Apple Pie's not short, Pumpkin Pie, I don't even know where he is.
Okay. I have Rolls at second, and he's the leadoff hitter I referenced before.
You're right. That's brutal.
That's one of the spots Rolls was mocked at one point in my process.
I'm trying to picture. I don't know if it's Louis Aparicio or it's one of these names that you hear grandfathers talk about, and then you go into their baseball reference, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Like Rolls for me plays second, hits leadoff, and has a career OPS in the 600s. But when grandfathers talk about them, they're like, Rolls was a ball player. And you're like, I think Rolls kind of stunk.
History is not wasn't kind to the role, but.
And I gotta always just think about the fans here. And I can't imagine a little kid thanks for bringing me to the game, Pops. Can we buy a scorecard? And then they see that Rolls is leading off playing second and be like, what is this?
Well, Rolls in the day was left. Rolls in the day was left.
Rolls can be a huge necessity and winning player. But leadoff is just throws you for a little. You're like, what? But I got some clunkers on my squad as well. So
I do have.
So I didn't look.
I have Rolls able to hit. But he is at first base for me. It's an offensive position.
Right.
Undersized, but still is hitting. And second base, second and short, I also have working together. This was the most I tried to find groupings that I like. Corn ended up at second base, and to get shortstop out of the way, Cranberry and Corn, the C brothers, they're working together. Cranberry a little more flashy, less substance. Corn more substance, less speed. So he ends up at second. Cranberry's the shortstop, but Cranberry can't hit at all. Corn ended up at second.
You should see how many positions Corn was. He's the most cross-offs. He's got 3. I wrote in, crossed 3 off, and then he landed somewhere else. He was at second base at a time for me.
He could have ended up kind of anywhere. He ended up in a lot of spots. I completely redid this, I think, 3 times.
You had to shuffle.
Yeah.
I, by the way, brought up Louis Aparicio's player page, and his hitting stats are exactly what I was picturing. and not even knowing him well. So I'm happy with that. Paired up the middle with rolls. Yeah, baby D. I mean, it shocks you a little bit.
The way he's talked about,
I'm sure
I couldn't believe that.
Who's your shortstop, Jake?
So this is where I could be convinced in switching my left side. So I will give a big reveal here. I put my clear best player on the team, Apple Pie at third base.
Interesting.
Like I have Apple Pie standing the test of time. Like I said, Rolls does not stand the test of time. Apple Pie did. And at shortstop, I put Green Bean Casserole only because I thought for Thanksgiving, I mean, that's kind of Green Bean Casserole's day. If someone shows up to another dinner party and they bring Green Bean Casserole, you're kind of like, oh, okay. On Thanksgiving, you do get yourself a little hyped for the GBC. So again, 1950s ball club. I have them being clean with the glove, not a hitter. I could have very well flipped this and had Apple Pie being my star shortstop, but I don't have this team being very good. So that's why Green Bean Casserole ended up at short.
With as much respect as I could possibly have, I completely disagree with everything you just said about GBC. Who the fuck gets excited about GBC at Thanksgiving? It's almost there because people feel bad that there's no other greens on the table. And then they muddy it up with a bunch of unhealthy stuff just to get people tricked into eating it. It's like never wanted.
Exactly.
And you got him as your star shortstop?
He's not the star. No. He's basically only out there for defense, which is exactly what you just said. Like they put a greenery on the table. He plays defense. He plays shortstop. He's out there basically by default. That's how Green Bean Casserole got there. And because people loaded up with so much stuff, that is the one day a year, and this is a Thanksgiving baseball team, that people get excited for the GBC.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that. I like Apple Pie at third.
Apple Pie can
and
play
now
third.
Like rolls at second and batting leadoff looks great in comparison to GBC at short. Like,
oh yeah,
GBC is lifting up the rest of the
That's
table.
why Rolls was beloved.
Okay, all right.
You're getting it.
Yeah, I don't think I could have viewed GBC much differently than you on this one.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Who are your guys' left sides?
I got Apple Pie at short. And then I have mashed potatoes at third. Steady, constant, sure with the glove, and actually can bop a little bit too. And he's just mashed potatoes, man. He's just there. He's eating up the real estate at third base. Catches everything.
And then at shortstop, like I said before, Cranberry, and this is where at third base is where I had Stuffing, helping out Cranberry over there. Stuffing is one of the best overall players on the team, both ways. So yeah, he locks down the hot corner for me.
Stuffing's good.
Stuffing at third or catcher makes sense.
Yeah. Third baseman and catchers, I feel like often get looked at rather similarly in these.
Yeah.
I think we did that with Gorilla and Koala last week too.
I think they both ended up in some spots. So we're on to the outfield.
100.
The outfield is where I really liked where I ended
Outfield.
up.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to just go center fielders first, or just give the whole three? How do you?
For this one, I'm really happy with how all three of mine work together, so I am open to going all three.
Yeah. Deliver all three. I think when we separate it, it's a unit, so you got to deliver it as a unit thought process. What do you got, BBD?
So when I unlocked this, so I have left to right, turkey, gravy, mashed potato. Gravy in the middle. He helps out both of those. They all work together very well. Turkey is also a right fielder. He is Joey Gallo. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. People love to shit talk the Turkey. And then you look at the numbers under the hood, and it's like, oh wait, he is a good player. You know, I've always been against Turkey disparaging when people talk about, well, Turkey sucks. It's like, well, come on, it's good. I enjoy the turkey, but perhaps it's not the most fun part of your Thanksgiving meal. He's a hitter for you, and with gravy to help him out. Gravy's the speed between turkey and mashed potato. I wanted mashed potato to be a DH because he's not fast. Turkey's not fast either, but they both hit a ton. Gravy less bat, more defense, more speed, base running. So those three work together out there.
So run it through one more time for me.
So left to right is turkey, gravy, mashed potato. Gravy for the same reasons you have him at first base. He's helping those two out a lot.
Yeah, gravy in center.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's got the speed.
Compared to them, it's not my fastest outfield, but I like the way they all work together.
And who's in right?
This is where mashed potato went. He mashes.
You got a slow outfield,
It's my slowest outfield I've ever assembled.
That's a slog.
Gravy is the fastest of them. It's like Aaron Hicks. In the grand scheme of things, not that fast. For this team, he's fast. I don't have a lot of fast players. The only confirmed fast guy I've got is Cranberry.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm worried
Stuffing's
about the speed
not slow.
out there.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of choices. I wanted at a time I wanted Turkey to be the starting pitcher pretty badly.
You got like 2016
here.
Beltran out there, like just not gonna go after anything. Just everything drops. Jake, what's your outfield?
Went in a different direction. Left field, sweet potato casserole. I'll be honest, I said it earlier in the broadcast. Didn't have a perfect home for SPC. You throw him in left field. Center field, I was kind of happy with this one. Corn ended up out there.
Interesting.
Just kind of a classic American corn. Can of corn. That's another term for catching a fly ball. So yeah, Corn is just a very proud Aaron Rowand type center fielder, aged back 40 years. In right field, I have Pumpkin Pie. Pumpkin Pie brings the noise, gets the people excited. Yeah.
Okay. I have sweet potato casserole as a corner outfielder as well. I did right. It wasn't a big thing for me, right or left, but I just put the casseroles in the corners, and basically, sweet potato one has just a lot more funk and jazz to them, and just like kind of like, where's the uniform nicer? Green Bean might be putting up the same exact numbers, but he's not getting the same amount of claps. But those are my corner outfielders, and Cranberry is just roasted them in center. It's basically Cranberry, go get it.
Really?
Yeah.
In one of my drafts, SPC ended up in right field, and I really liked that for a bit. Then I figured out I needed a casserole behind the dish. So he moves. And then I figured out that's my outfield alignment.
Cranberry's like a Kiermaier. Like, it's push come to shove, like bat versus defense, and then does he respect his teammates? Like, is Cranberry respecting the casseroles on outside? No, he's almost like, you're putting me out here with these fucking casseroles. I'm Cranberry. So he's stealing balls. It's very Kiermaier-esque out there in my outfield, which bonds the casseroles even more. That they're like, they'll talk to the teammates and they're like, don't worry, we know how to handle Cranberry. We're not upset.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the casseroles, there had to be some sort of symmetry. I had them on the left side of the field, and I had people over time respecting sweet potato more than green bean over the years, but at the time they didn't. And then Cranberry for me was a little tricky. I'll be honest, I couldn't get my bias out of it. Not into the Cranberry.
Me personally,
not into it.
That's it. For me, it ended up at DH, because I kind of have it as like a kind of a one trick. Like you're either in on cranberry or you're out. So I kind of labeled that as the DH area. So in my head, I don't have that as the speedster type in center, but I see where your team came from.
Just flashy.
And while we're
and no need to be, the casseroles are like, dude, you come in a can sometimes.
I think like you're almost like expected to come in a can.
You're not who you think you are, but he can go.
You're almost your best when you come out of a can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Remember your roots, cranberry. Kind of that type of situation.
So yeah, my DH, and this is my saddest position. This is where I put green bean casserole, and he's going the way of Gray in 2017. Chase Headley, he's batting eighth and DHing, just kind of no good for anybody. So out on
him. That's tough for him.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, for my cranberry DH, he bats around the 7 slot, and he's kind of old. He's kind of worn out. A lot of the banter around the metal factory is like, I love cranberry playing, but I don't think we can put him out there anymore.
And it's fair.
Yeah.
Dude, my DH, it ended up being Corn. He got moved around so much that he just kind of was lackluster everywhere. And they're searching. They're searching for. He gets pinch hit for pretty quick, but he brings balance to the starting lineup a little bit. So he actually hits a little higher than you'd like him, but it's just in hopes that he makes the other team make a pitching change, and then you sub in a guy. You feel bad not starting him, and he's a lefty. He's a little odd, so Corn's the DH, but no one's excited about it.
Okay. So I think we're all trying to do the math in our heads. Your pitchers, starting pitching and closer. I had Turkey as the starting pitcher.
Obviously, dude. He's such a baby. The whole day is about him. He thinks everyone's buying the ticket to see him. He disrespects everyone else. He makes them listen to his music. He's like, it's Turkey Day. It's Turkey Day. It's Turkey Day. I'm the starting pitcher. It's my day. I'm in charge. And everyone's like, dude, you kind of stink, dog. Like, this is not as much about you as you think it is.
Yeah. No, again, going back to my 1940s team, like Turkey, don't get me wrong, takes the ball a lot every Thanksgiving. But like, you end up looking at Turkey stats, and he was a 4.6 guy with a 12-18 record. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of who Turkey is. He's out there. He, on the tickets, there's Turkey. He's the starting pitcher. He's kind of what we want baseball to get back to.
Yes.
But not with Turkey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Among the very first thoughts I had when we started this, pumpkin pie was the first one I placed, but Turkey at starting pitcher he was there for a while. Ultimately decided I want him in the lineup. And I stumbled into what I like with my pitchers. I like enough. The pies are my pitching staff. Apple pie starting, pumpkin pie's the closer. Pumpkin pie is the closer, very first thing that I thought of.
Rolls is my closer, and it's very much because you get your first plate and you eat everything straight up, and then you go, you know what, I'm going to close this out. You get a bunch of other food, you turn it into a sandwich with a roll, and that's like your final of the meal. And Rolls is just kind of like a hilarious closer. Like, it's very much like, this guy? He's a little out of shape. He doesn't look the part. But for some reason, he can just lock it down.
Okay. I thought about the dessert route, similar process to you, BBD. It felt too symmetrical. for the Thanksgiving draft for me. So I was like, okay, what do I have here? I've got my starting battery is, you know, it's turkey and stuffing. I mean, hell yeah, it is every Thanksgiving. My closer is gravy. It's kind of literally and figuratively gravy when he comes in to get the win.
I like that.
You kind of look at him, kind of what you were saying about your rolls, Jim. Gravy looks a little gross, but I mean, it's in the mix, and it will do anything to get the win. He's throwing spitballs, a lot of junk, like was suspended for having a nail file in his pocket.
Gravy's a cheater,
So
straight
that's
up.
Gravy cheats.
Like every game,
cheats.
a dugout's like this, dude. Like,
Just always
like
trying
straight up,
something.
Gravy.
What's up?
Yeah. Like every pitcher that steps in the box is like, none of that bullshit this time. And Gravy's like, all right.
Is that a mushroom? What is that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, Gravy's always got a little something going on. You're like, it's a good one. I'll just go through mine. Apple pie's leading off. We got to sell tickets. This is the shortstop. He's leading off. Stuffing is batting second. He's actually a pretty decent player. He's catching. He's batting second. Pumpkin, batting third. And this is where, like, it gets better. The 4-5 is good. Mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, 4-5. Mashed potatoes in the 4-hole, sweet potato in the 5-hole. Corn, again at DH, just because he's a lefty. And mashed and sweet are just both righties. Usually you split it up. Yeah, Cranberry batting 7th. Gravy, the first baseman, batting 8th. And Green Bean Casserole is batting 9th.
Okay. Powerful.
I like I could talk myself into
rolls.
Yeah.
Rolls leading off, playing second. Beloved at the time. Stats haven't aged well. Sweet potato casserole in left field is second. And again, I have to remind you, this is a 1940s baseball team. So basically out there to bunt. Number 3 is third baseman, apple pie, best player on the team. First base, cleaning up, is mashed potatoes. The catcher, stuffing, as we all agreed, strong ball player. 5th. Right field, pumpkin pie. 6th. DH, cranberry, one-trick pony. Shortstop, green bean casserole. And center fielder, corn, bringing up the 9-hole.
Not bad.
King
Not
Beebs.
I had, so I eventually turned it into like a more new age lineup. So I get corn in there, some pop at the top of the lineup, kind of a Dozier mold.
Corn's got no pop.
In my lineup, he does. Mashed potatoes.
He's like Tony Clark in his last year. That's how I have corn.
Mashed potatoes, batting second, mashing. He needs to be up there. Rolls batting third, who breaks up. Mashed potatoes and turkey, who bats 4th, and is Joey Gallo in my lineup. Stuffing, batting 5th, playing third base. SPC catching, batting 6th. Gravy is 7th, breaks up. The casseroles in there as well, gets a little more speed into there compared to them. Green bean casserole, saddest player in the world, batting 8th, DH, and Cranberry is the second leadoff guy because he can't hit. But if he gets on ahead of those guys, you're happy. Those guys up top can move him along.
Love a good second leadoff.
Yeah. In an original draft,
I can't believe you guys have corn and rolls. I mean, just think of the kids paying money to see that team.
Don't you? I thought you said you like rolls. You were speaking of rolls in an endearing way.
Yeah, but they're not a leadoff hitter.
Right.
I said rolls have a lot of wins. I like rolls, but not leadoff.
In the 1940s, rolls was the bee's knees, man.
They're like the guy out there that you're like you love to tell people that he's your favorite player, but he can't be the best on the team.
Rolls hits 280 and he steals. He also has the most caught steals in the league.
That's obvious. Yes. Yep. Almost every time he gets a hit, he gets thrown out. And you're like, Rolls, dude.
Yeah.
What was this?
It's like, I like. You know what? I like him. He plays aggressive.